Hey, 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 what's up, everybody? My name is Matt Harabian, and you're locked into another amazing episode of the SERP Concierge Show. Say what? I'm so happy, everyone, to have on the show today my buddy Mike Piet, who's a legend in the internet marketing community. Mike, can you hear me? Are you there?
Yes, I am here. Can you hear me as well?
Good to have you. We can hear you loud and clear. Thanks so much for coming on to the SERP Concierge Show as one of the first guests of the show.
Awesome. Thank you for having me. Happy to be here. Can't wait to just give massive value. It's crazy.
And that's what we need, massive value from you, Mike. Let's start off. What's this little black wallpaper you got going on in the background here? What's going on behind you there?
This is all chalkboard paint. So literally this entire room is just 100% chalkboard paint. And like even over here, it's like I don't think like a normal person. I know the camera is super crappy. Can I swear on this interview at all or no?
Let's keep it clean. There might be kids listening. You never know.
Okay, yeah. So this may be blurry, but it's like there's the calendar, and then I just have like quotes and goals and everything. And then like this is, I have an office downtown, but this is like my home one.
Okay.
And I don't know if you can see it too. This is like a desk I made, but up there is like it hooks to the TV, and I can stand here and work. And then like down here, you can sit as well.
Right on.
I don't know if you can see that as well, but so yeah, chalkboard paint. And then also there's another room with the chalkboard paint, and I have it all over. Like cabinets and everything. So if I'm like, someone calls, I got to write something down, I can just write it all over. It's pretty cool. You can get it at like your local, like Home Depot or Lowe's or any type of store. So
right on. That's I should definitely try that out. Looks like your brain's always going, which is a good thing.
Yeah, exactly. I'm a big picture person. So sometimes I don't like writing just on paper, just like all over and maps and systems and stuff like that.
Right on. And let's since we're getting to know a little bit more about you, let's definitely find out who, before we jump into the meat of things, who is Mike Piet? Let's try to find out, when did you start in internet marketing? When did you start? What was that moment that you got into it way back when?
Okay. I used to be a radiographer, which was taking x-rays. And then I decided like it was just really hard to move up there. It's like you have to work there for like 20, 30 years. And maybe if like someone like the manager passed away or something, like you would then maybe move up. And it was just really hard to move up, and you're kind of set at a pay level. So I wanted to do something different. And I saw an ad, one of the affiliate offers to like do AdWords back then. This was about 6 years ago, almost 7 years ago now. And so then I decided to make my own product. I wrote a book like how to become a radiographer and how to pass like the exam. And then, I put the book up online, and I thought, everyone's going to buy it and I'm going to make so much money, And then sure enough, I was like, okay, well, I actually have to write the sales copy and the email and do a lead gen. And then I realized, okay, well, I have to get traffic for this, and then, of course I, torrented like every single thing on, how to get traffic. And so I kind of just learned it backwards. And then actually I was, I don't know if you're familiar with like the internet marketing community. I won't say his name, but like Evan Pagan, Frank Kern, Jeff Walker.
Right.
It was one of those guys. And he actually lived 2 hours away from me. And like I was following his stuff, and I'm like, wow, I can't believe he lives here. So I went and put in my application, and he actually called me, and I got a job there working for him. This is a huge internet marketer. Like you would know his name. And so I got to see behind the scenes him just, making tons of money and living the, internet lifestyle dream. And it was pretty cool to see. But then I wanted to do my own thing. I didn't want to work for someone else. So then I actually started a business, another online business, how to write a book. Because now that I wrote that radiography book, I'm always just sharing the results I get. So I said, okay, what else can I teach? Okay, well, I did writing a book was super hard for me. So, how do you structure it? What do you title it? How do you get it out there? So I made a program on that and selling that. And then I did the opposite. So the radiography niche was too small. I didn't make that much money. And the how to write a book niche, it was people that wanted to write about their like life and their story and like characters and stuff. versus I wanted to teach them how to write like a nonfiction information stuff, since I'm like an information junkie. So the niche was just way wrong there. But then I'm like, holy shit, I have all these skills. I
Yeah.
learned marketing. I learned AdWords. I learned SEO, and I'm like, so then I actually did Toastmasters, public speaking, working on my self-development, because I love self-development. And then I just was just sharing, what I do and like all the business I started and the guy I was working for at the time. And then someone said, hey, can you do that for my business? And I was like, yeah, probably. So then I did it for them, and I got insane results. I actually generated them an extra $100,000 a month. And I actually just went to this client today, and they pay me $2,400 a month. And it always just feels good to get the check every month. But it's been a year and a half now since they've been paying me $2,400 consistently. So the lifetime value is already like $30,000, if not more. So it's just really rewarding. Then I just kept saying, okay, I can get more clients and more clients. And then soon it was local. And then I went to, all national. I have clients all over the States now. So that's my story, I guess.
Wow. No, that's some amazing stuff. Definitely a big aha moment with, you got your eyes opened up to, internet marketing, especially SEO, trying to, SEO is crucial these days, no matter what you're selling, like you said, a book or whatnot. So,
Right.
The kind of the topic today, what we're going to kind of focus on is a huge topic in the SEO community, and gets talked around a lot, and there's always people asking about it. And we're going to be talking about today anchor text and anchor text and pillowing links
Right.
and things like that. So you're an expert, obviously, in this field. That's why we definitely have you on the show today. Let's start off with, for people that are kind of starting out in SEO, what is anchor text?
Okay, anchor text is also known as a hyperlink. It's that blue thing. When you click it, it goes to a different site. And then Google counts all of those and collectively puts it. The most known tool is majestic.com, Majestic SEO. You go there and you can see all the pie chart on the first page, then go to backlinks and anchor text and see all those anchor links, how people are linking. And so I don't know where the term pillowing came from, but that's the term used in community. I mean, when I think of pillowing, I think of like a pillow, sleeping, but I think, I don't know what the metaphor is, connection, but it means keeping things safe. So it doesn't mean, so there's like PBNs and other ways and like high authority links to rank things, but pillowing is keeping things safe. And the reason why it's done is because, as you know, Google is always trying to look out for things that are natural. They're always trying to stop people gaming it, because unfortunately, when we are kind of manipulating in a way, but we're doing it for good and hiring clients. My site actually one of my sites got hacked the other day, and about 1,000 links they injected into my site, and all of them were just like porn links and gambling and all this stuff. And that's how people spam the search engine. So then they would have a terrible time. So they don't want anyone really to game it. They want it to be natural. So they're always look out for unnaturalness. And the thing that a common mistake was, and this is still like, when I got into the community SEO, like hardcore, probably a year and a half ago, but people still just did, way over optimization so Google can know. And the anchor text is, so how they did over optimization was, say I wanted to rank for, let's see, I'll just say SEO company, okay? Mm-hmm. So they would have the links, and all their sites would say the SEO company, best SEO company, top SEO company. Like if they were advanced and even smart, like they would use generics, but but in real life, when people link, like when I link, I'm like, hey, if you want this SEO company, then click here. And I would highlight click here so people would click it and it would go here. It's called the category of generic, like click here, go home. Or if I was like this SEO company, Mike's best service, like I would highlight Mike's best service and have that click over to it. I would never really do SEO company. Now, some people do, but that's the thing. Not everyone is going to do the same anchor text. So you just always want to think like Google and say what's natural, what normal people do. And then it's varying up the anchor text.
Yeah, exactly. And you bring up a really good point when you're talking about, like, say, generic and all that stuff. There are many different types, as we know, of anchor text. What are the main types of anchor text that are out there that you can use?
Okay, great. So I break it down into 5 different categories.
Mm-hmm.
I did tons of research trying to figure out, what's the most natural
Mm-hmm.
anchor text, and kind of got that. And there's different ways to slice and dice, but the main ones are brand.
Mm-hmm.
So the brand. So I had a company. It was called. I made a site for skincare, and it was called Amazing Marvelous Care.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like the brand was that, or it was AMC, or it's like all caps, AMC, or lower caps, or all caps, the name of the company, and that's just the brand, what people call it. So either like Apple, iPod, or anything, it's like just the brand, like what you call that.
For sure.
And then there's the URL, which is like this the naked URL, it's the domain name. So if I wanted to link to Apple, I'd say, hey man, I just bought this, iPod, go to their site to buy one too. And then I would put like apple.com,
Right.
or something like that, or like amc.com, or whatever the site is. And you can have different variations of that too. You can have it with the www, without the www, with the http,
Right.
with a slash at the end. So you can mix it up. You always just want to do like the 80-20 rule. So like the majority of how people are just going to, whatever the URL says, like when you're looking in the browser, they're just going to copy and paste that and put it in there, and it will link to it. And the brand, like what's the name brand that they use? Like McDonald's would be like what everyone knows McDonald's by, but it's also like Mickey D's or the Golden Arch or whatever. So you can vary it up. So those are the first 2. So you have brand, the company name, what people call the company by, and then you have the naked URL. People just put that URL, and then you have generics, which are things like we talked about: click here, go, home, just tons of different variations, just random stuff. And then you have the exact match, what it's known as. So that's using it. So if you wanted to rank for, clear my acne, like that would be that thing, or SEO company, that exact one. And then you have variations. So you can have like best SEO company, most affordable SEO company. And then you also have different, I call them like secondary keywords.
Mm-hmm.
And those are things that are also known as like LSI keywords.
Okay.
And those are things like they have the same meaning. Maybe you say search engine optimization. Maybe you say SEO services. So it's not the same word, but it's like another word for it. So you have the brand, you have the naked URL, and you have the generics, you have the exact match, and you have the variations of the exact match, having the best, words before it, words after it. And then you have secondary, or LSI, which is just not the same thing, but different. And then you want to also think about percents.
Okay.
So it's usually about 20% brand and 20% naked URLs, and then 20% generics, and then so that we're 60. So we have to go. Actually, I would say 25% brand, 25% naked, 25% generic, and then like 5% exact, 5% exact variations, and then secondary 5% as well. Now will equal 100.
For sure, for sure. And I mean, that's a great point you just brought up. We all know back in the day, before Penguin, to rank, you could just fire exact match, dog training,
Correct.
Keywords, anchor text, use your anchor text 100% pretty much
Right.
to rank for that. Obviously, post Penguin days, that's over right now. You're noticing more, the logic is use more sort of a branded, anchor text, because that is, what Google looks for to keep it, like you said, natural. Over the years, has the anchor text ratio stayed the same? Is it changing? Where's it going from here?
I believe it's going more towards the brand, the naked URLs, and generic. I just keep kind of increasing those more.
Okay.
I see that, but also you're just always like emulating, what others, and it's also going more variety. Some people are like, okay, I'm going to use the exact 5% and like these exact variations, each a certain time. But now it's like just more variety, like stop repeating like at all. And that's what I've been doing, and that's what's been working for me. And I'm always thinking, just how can I keep it more safe and more natural?
Yeah, exactly. And what you just said with the anchor text, I mean, we're in 2015 right now. Is it safe? Is it okay to repeat your anchor text? especially using money keywords?
Yes, as long as you keep it below the 5%. So what I do is I actually, in a Excel spreadsheet, I actually keep all of my domains and I write down the keyword I use, and then I actually have it these 5 categories marked up on top, and I put a 1 for whatever I use,
Right.
and I have it automatically calculate. So each time I use an anchor text, I actually have it add up, and it will tell me, okay, I'm at 23% brand, maybe 10% negative URLs, so I have to add some more URLs, and maybe exact was at 10, so I need to stop using those and use other ones to dilute it.
Right.
So you can repeat it. That's it's kind of saying you can repeat it if you use the brand 100 times, then you can use the exact 5 to 10. So, and if you have the brand 1,000,000 times, you can repeat the exact 100 times. But in general, the theory is that just Google needs to know a little bit what the keyword is, what you're talking about, how people talk about it.
Right.
So in theory, you can just you can keep changing it. There's 100 different ways to say SEO company, SEO service, best SEO company, exact SEO company,
For
world's
sure.
best. There's millions of ways. I mean, just look up, adjectives or thesaurus or anything, or you can even mix and match these, like, Mike's great house SEO company or something, So you can mix and match and do all sorts. Oh, also, actually, I did forget one. So there's actually 6 categories. It's also pictures. I don't
Okay.
use those as much, but I also I use pictures. So I use that, and that's up there around 20%. So basically, so you can kind of just mark down maybe the brand, negative, and generic to 20%. But it's not exact science using this. It's more about you have the underlying thoughts and the strategies to use these and make sure you're not going over. So
Yeah, I mean,
pictures is one more.
for sure, and then that's what I've kind of noticed too is the alt text in the image links is actually getting more and more important, and kind of like what we just talked about. You want to kind of mix up the anchor text. Instead of saying dog training,
Right.
one could be best dog training. The next one could be top dog training companies,
Right.
or something like that, or
Right.
flipping it around like training dog. Even
Right.
whatever you want to kind of
Right.
at the end of the day, it's about keeping it natural, keeping it look like we're not doing the SEO. It's all getting the natural type of links, right?
Right. I mean, if you think about why we use PBNs, is because we're emulating the process of a high authority domain, and that certain page has the links linking out to it.
Mm-hmm.
So we're always just emulating what is natural. So
yeah, and I mean, let's think of it this way. Let's try to figure this out. If you're looking at one category, like say, you're trying to rank for SEO company. Is the anchor text ratio for that versus, say, something like eyelash extensions Chicago or something? Do you think the anchor text ratio would be similar across the board for whatever niche it is, or does anchor text ratio change depending on the niche? What have you seen?
I don't think the ratios change. Obviously, the anchor text that you wanted to. So if you had eyelash extension Chicago, that's what you wanted to rank for.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you would use, and you would vary it up. And some of those secondary ones would be just Chicago, just eyelash extensions, and then eyelash, extensions in Chicago, near Chicago, Chicago, eyelashes, best Chicago, company name, Chicago. Like you just mix and match all of these.
Right.
So I don't think it necessarily changes on percents, but it's still just having that variation is what the key is.
Yeah, exactly. Keeping it natural, keeping it mixed up, and
Right.
and kind of.
Is that what you have experienced as well? Or?
Well, there's the best way to find out what Google wants is to find out who's ranking in the top 3 or top 5, right? At the end of the day, Google is pretty much telling us what is the perfect type of backlink profile or anchor text ratio.
The only thing though is that I wanted to say this too, is that the reason I don't like doing that is because I always find that sometimes there's like that one with no links whatsoever. And there's like a quote I heard one time that like for having like a research study, all it takes is one little case that it's not working, the whole thing's screwed.
Yeah.
So you say, well, they don't, this is ranking, this doesn't have any links. Or you'll see one with like 100% exactly the keyword or something crazy. You're like, what the hell? So yes, you can look at it. That's one thing, but also take it with a grain of salt. There's always Google, literally. I mean, I've seen too many cases from my experience. They always do something like random where you're like, what the heck? Like, let's say like your PBNs get de-indexed. It's like all of them are exactly the same, but they only de-index 30 of them. It's like, well, they were all exactly the same. So if they wanted to, they could have found all of them. They're all linking to the same site and stupid stuff like that in the past that I've done. So it's like they always leave some sort of randomness. And I really do think that if I was trying to not make it hard for spammers, I would never make it exactly, or else, then everyone would see the logic. And once people see the logic, it's game over.
Oh yeah, they're definitely trying to make sure we can't detect the algorithm and whatnot.
Right.
On that, let's just jump back to what we talked about, what you brought up at the beginning, a little bit more about the concept of this pillowing links. Exactly, walk us through how the process works. Like, okay, so we know now, we need to diversify the anchor text ratio. Correct. It needs to kind of, be natural. There's different type of, anchor text types, the branded naked URL, the generic, like, click here, find out more. Yep. Whatnot, and obviously, your exact keywords like dog training or whatever the case may be. How does somebody go out and actually pillow links? Like, what do they need to build? What do they need to get? What do they need to set up? How does it, break it down for us if you could?
Okay, great. Yeah, like you said, we covered like the why. Just specifically, if you don't do this, if you're just using exact match, you're going to get either ranking suppressions from that penguin filter. They're going to say, okay, this person is doing over optimization. They're not going to rank you, or you literally will get penalized or your site will be de-indexed. So both are bad news. So it's like you want to keep your ranking safe. And then we talked about the what, so the brand, the naked, the generic, all the different variations and why that's important to make it look natural. So now we're kind of going to go into the how, right?
Like
exactly. How do you do? Okay, great. So what I always do is, I'm not sure if this is under the category of pillowing, but it's something important to know is link velocity.
Okay.
So people always say like, how often should I do links?
Yeah.
And the answer is always, it depends. If your site was, just naturally or whatever, getting 100 links a day, while doing 150 links or 50 more links, you get 150 a day now, it doesn't really matter. And another thing to note too is randomness. So it's like, it's always hard to explain when I'm training like my staff how to do pillowing. It's like, they want to know like how many do I do each day, and it's like they want a system to follow, and it's like we almost have to create like a unnatural, predictable system. Right. So it's very interesting. But so what I always tell them is like I tell them the whole stories. Well, we just went over all the natural stuff, and all the links at the same time would look unnatural. So I say it's always a rule of when you're doing, at least for PBN links, we'll start with there. It's easier. Let's say you're doing one to three. Let's say you have 10 PBNs you bought. You set them up. So then you would link out maybe 1 to 3, and it's like 1 to 3 days or 1 to 4 days. So it's like, okay, you can do one day and then wait 3 days and do 3, and then wait 1 day and do 2, and then just random wait like 4 days and do 1, and then wait 1 day and do 1 day and do 2, and then 1 day do 1, and then wait 3 days and do 1 or something. So it's just that randomness. So you have it in there. And same with pillowing. So you have to look at, you always want to start slow. You always want to start slower. You can never go wrong going slow. So if it's a new site, or most small clients, like they don't get a lot of backlinks. If they don't have an SEO person, it's very unlikely that, especially if they're local, that they're getting any backlinks at all. If they're national and a big company, then yeah, they already have backlinks. You don't have to worry about link velocity so much.
Okay.
So there's always 2 categories you can do pillowing by. There's using the tools, or you can do it manually. So I'll give you an example. So like Web 2.0s, those are things like WordPress, Blogger, Weebly, you name it, all those Tumblrs, all that different stuff where you post an article and you can do an outbound link. Now, again, for the sake of this conversation, no follow, do follow, those are kind of just thrown out there because, again, we're not trying to make it rank at all. So basically, it doesn't really matter about, you can kind of just take that out of the equation if it helps rankings or not. It's keeping things safe. So you have all these Web 2.0s, and there's 2 ways to do it. There's ways where you can generate the content. First of all, they're spinning content or not. So there's a lot of different facets of it, but you can basically get a tool. There's like a Rank Wiz, there's FSC Network. There's, just Google anything or in the community, you'll see it, and you can just post it out to all of these. You can drip it like one a day. You can do a lot of advanced stuff, or you can hire someone, or you can do it yourself, and you can just go to each site, create the account, make it look good, add some stuff, add the content, and you can get content from anyone you hire, from iWriter, from any service you want, and do it that way. So there's always those two ways. As long as you're using it right and doing it natural, then it doesn't matter. And again, I've actually switched. I used to use just a lot of tools, but I found out the tools were always just a lot of work to kind of maintain and do. And I'm like, it's almost, you can hire someone for them, it's good wage. And for you, it's a lower wage overseas, and they can just do it. And it just gives me more confidence sometimes that someone's manually doing it, because then I don't have to worry about the tools, the IPs, all of it breaking down and them, like, because they shut down your accounts if they see you mass creating accounts and stuff like that. So and also, what are your goals? If you need tons of pillowing, it's harder. If you really want to stick around and really care, it's always better to do it manually in most cases. It can be argued both ways. And it's always a case of money. Obviously, manually is just more safer. You're using a real person. It's like their time to create it. They're putting the love in, or whatever you want to call it. But it's cheaper to use a tool and just post out to 20 and things like that. So you always got to put those into perspectives. But basically, the pillowing is Web 2.0s. You can also use your PBNs, which is, I didn't realize. I always used to use exact match on PBNs, and I wrote a report about this early on, about how you can just use your PBNs and just vary up that, and makes your PBNs look more natural too. They're not always exact, and you're using all the different, generic and home, and doing that. And when I wrote that report, people, tons of people write in, and they were like, I've been doing that for years and things like that. So it definitely does work. And then, like I had Pillow It Pro. We're actually redoing the service right now, but I actually created a separate network of sites, because a challenge I was having with Web 2.0s was that, because like if you're on WordPress.com or Tumblr or anything, the challenge with that was, for me, was getting it indexed to actually make it count. So, you actually have to check it in Google to see if it's indexed. If it's not indexed, it doesn't count. Yeah, exactly. Google doesn't see it. So, because there's probably thousands of them being created a day. So Google just couldn't index them fast enough. But now I actually do use a tool to send tons of backlinks to the Web 2.0, not to send it juice, not to do anything like that, just to get it indexed. Okay. So I use that. And then, so Web 2.0s, your PBNs are also you're going to have to vary up anchor text. And then you can also use citations and social. Now, social is kind of that new emerging thing, or I guess, it's obviously been there. And social, I put it under the pillowing category, but I don't put it under the anchor text pillowing. So I put it under the pillowing as the reference to it's making everything seem more natural. But since it doesn't usually count as an anchor text really anywhere, some of the social bookmarks and stuff do, but I haven't really seen that like reflected Majestic SEO and things like that. So I really don't count that. And same with citations. They don't show up in Majestic all too often. I'm not sure why. But obviously citations, you pretty much just put your URL, so it's a naked URL. But I do that under the pillowing category to keep things natural. But I use Web 2.0s and PBNs mainly for the anchor text diversification pillowing to keep it natural.
Okay, and you bring up a good point. Obviously, when should people SEOs do this sort of focus on the pillowing? Is it at the beginning of your kind of SEO campaign, the middle, the end?
It's always.
Okay.
So it is. So, you want to start slow. And even with your PBNs, if I'm doing if I create a brand new site and I bought the 10 PBNs, my first anchor text from those PBNs would be a brand, and then a naked URL and a generic, and then exact match. And then I start just doing them randomly. So, and then it has to keep going, because if you add more exact match, then you need, 4 times as much brand and naked. So you just want to keep it going. If you want to be safe, you can just start off with like Web 2.0s and do all generic and all click here's and, all home and brand and URLs and stuff like that. But basically the whole goal and the whole like point I'll keep driving home is just the naturalness. So as long as you're integrating it, making it natural. So it's not like it's a one-time thing. I pillow it, do all these, different types of anchor text, and then I'm good. I can just keep sending PBNs. We always got to keep it in check. The more PBNs, the more pillowing, the more PBNs, more pillowing. So
Exactly. Because if we think about it, when you do say 1 out of 10 links is an exact match, okay, there's your 10%, and then
correct.
10 out of 100,
Yep.
exact match could be like, say, dog training. Well, the chances of 1 out of 10 links being something, or 2 out of the 10 links being say dog training, very probable, because there's not that
Right.
many links. But when you start getting to, like, say, a 10 out of 100, or 100 out of 1,000, well, you're still in that sort of anchor text ratio of 10%, but you're actually kind of going to be tripping some sort of filter, because
Right.
to get 100, 1 or 2 dog training anchor text, that's
Right.
No problem. Okay, that could happen. But to get 100 out of 1,000, or 1,000 out of 10,000 links, when you start really hammering
Right.
it, that starts getting less probable. And we want to kind of, even though people think, oh, I'm still 10% anchor text ratio for exact match. Well, it's not really like that, because the more links you have, the less you can get away with. You know what I
Right.
mean? So that's good to know. And you mentioned a few times already, and something we should definitely bring up is Majestic and sites. How do you actually go about and check a website for its existing link for its anchor text? What are some tools like Majestic, and if you can talk about what that
Right.
tool is, and maybe others that you use, or that are good to kind of see what's that pie chart look like, kind of thing.
Right. So yeah, there's tons of tools, and I'm sure you can always just even like either ask the community or Google, what's the best way to check, and you'll get 100 different answers. And I think the two biggest is always Majestic SEO and Moz.
Hmm.
But I never use Moz. Like I've used it once or twice, and I just didn't like the interface. And Majestic just stuck with me for whatever reason.
Hmm.
So I wouldn't say you have to use that, but that's what I use, and that's what is the easiest. It shows like a pie chart. It seems really easy to me, and that's the way I check. And then again, I said when I'm building PBNs, like I'll record all the percents, so it automatically does it. And I can put a link to I use a Google spreadsheets that automatically calculates it. So you can put each one. You put your
Yeah.
site, and then you just mark a 1, whatever category it is, and it will automatically put it up there. But
Oh, right on.
if you already have a client coming in, it's hard to add all those links. But I don't, for some reason, like that would be the ideal solution, but it's so hard. I just start kind of from there and just keep my stuff the exact match of using the keyword I want to rank for just low.
Yeah, I mean, my favorite is Majestic as well. That's kind of my go-to one. Open Site Explorer by Moz for sure is another very, very popular one in the community. You get kind of different metrics from that, and stuff like that.
Right.
And obviously there's Ahrefs as well. So those are kind of your
Yep.
big three that you can, they all kind of give you, their own interpretation. They obviously they're not going to all detect the 100% of the links, or even the exact same links. But when you're looking at the anchor text ratios and profiles and things like that, they'll give you kind of a good estimation on that. So, what?
I found up, I thought of another way. I'm
Yeah.
always just missing one thing. Another way to get good pillowing is comments.
Oh, okay.
And there's always the two ways to get it. It's always you can just use a machine that finds all the sites that can post on the comments, or you can do it manually. And the reason why I do it manually is because the machine ones, I've obviously bought tons of links, and even on Fiverr you can buy all these 10,000 comment links or however many you want. But when I go to these sites, there's so many comments. There's like hundreds of comments. You just scroll down, it's all these spam. You can just tell it's spam comments. And to me, I don't understand why a webmaster would let that happen. Eventually, he would say, holy smokes, I left my comments on by accident. Anyone who leaves a comment automatically accepted. There's no way an admin is like, okay, yeah, this one's legit. Let's accept this. Let's accept this. Like they left You don't need permission. Anyone can just do it. So eventually I just have a feeling those are going to go away. And second, like it just looks like spam, pure spam. Like it's not even hiding it. So what I do is I actually hire someone on Odesk, now known as Upwork. And I tell them to, search the keywords that I'm looking for, relevant sites, and write a post. And all I tell them to do is find one paragraph you like and just rephrase it in your own words. And all I have to say is, I like this post. And what I really liked is when you talked about XYZ. I can really relate to when you said, about your grandma. I can relate that to my grandma. She's a great person as well. And the reason why that works so well is these are actually, really high authority sites. It doesn't have to be, again, because you're just going for pillowing. But when someone sees that, they can tell that the person actually read it and they approve it, versus the ones that say, oh, this is a great post, thank you, it made my day. If you have a website, you get hundreds of those, per week, so those are fake. So the way and then actually you go to fakenamegenerator.com and you actually just cycle through names and you tell the person, just go there, keep cycling through names, and also keep a chart where you post. And then she'll actually record if it's live or not live, because a lot of them, they always have to approve it. So you can go back and you can see, okay, well, she does 20 comments per hour or whatever, and they 15 get approved. And it's this really good method of and you're using fake names, and it's a name, so it's just random. And I found that really worked. Yeah, it may seem weird that a bunch of names are like pointing to your site, but I found that's what really works, and it makes sense to the person doing it. Because if you put any type of keyword in the name thing, that's just weird too, because who puts a keyword as their name? Who's going to put like clear my acne, clear my skin, SEO company as their name, or like Mike SEO company? It's like, that's not your name, so just those random names, and that's worked really well for me, and that's what I'm doing. I'm adding that in as well. Again, I'm going for the long-term strategy. So if it's a real comment and someone approved it, and they're actually approving it, their site's not going to go away, and they actually care versus these long lists. And you can do that. And I actually use those type of comments to get the Web 2.0's indexed. So because once it's indexed, I don't care if those comments go away, because my goal was to never. Some people do use that to juice them, but I stick with like the most basic stuff always. I'm like, PBNs work for me. Like, I've had cases where I just use PBNs and use that for pillowing, and I can rank it, anything. So it's like, that's what always works for me. I know everyone has this like crazy strategies of, all these, links to Web 2.0s to another Web 2.0 and stuff. But it's like, I've kind of messed with that, and I just found it confusing to keep track of it all, like links to more links. So I just use a lot of basic stuff. And I'm not saying don't use that and don't experiment. I just try to keep it simple, because I'm trying to run it like it's something scalable. Yeah, no, exactly. And I mean, you have to, like we said over and over again, keep it natural. And like you said, I mean, I've seen it so many times where I'm on some blog and you see all these comments and they're the exact match keyword, like, like you said, clear my acne or whatever, or like, city SEO or something like that. Somebody's trying to run for a city SEO. So it's not like, Joe Smith or something like that. So yeah, I mean, it's clear as mud that something's going on there for sure. Right. I was gonna, I mean, I'm gonna ask you here, to try to help, people, like are starting out or even in this game for a long time. What are some of the mistakes you're seeing other SEOs making with their anchor text? If you can kind of, pick one or two kind of things that you're seeing consistently that, you could tell people right now to help them, avoid these going forward, obviously, with future Google algo updates, how to safeguard themselves going forward. Well, I would say, I mean, the biggest mistake was, overusing the exact match and variations and going that route. And I haven't really seen a lot of that going now so much. I think a lot of people are aware of that. And now the question is, okay, I get it, but how? So I think a lot of question is how. And I think a lot of people, I guess, mistakes, I mean, say getting into detail, like, trying to find exact percents. Just, when I say 5%, like it can be 6, it can be 3.
Right.
Just go for, there's no there's no exact solution in any of this, and it's not how like life works. There's no like always perfect exactly this, and you can tell everything. It's like you're just doing what you can, and you'll get it just by doing it enough. So I think maybe just too much detail. I've seen a lot of people like spend freaking like weeks on these like GSA and all these tools where you need IPs, you're pulling in content, you're pulling in just so much stuff. And I've seen a lot of people just spend so much time. And by the time they even do it, the whole, the machine that the GSA or, SE Nuke or whatever they use, Magic Submitter, they like it just changes already. And now they have to, it's like, it's a constant thing.
Yeah.
They almost think, okay, I can do it. But then you have to find all the sites again. And then of course, Google's blocking their IP and they just bought these IPs. But, so it's like, oh, and how you, create the account. Now that account doesn't want you to masquerade account. So they change one thing. So then that tool doesn't work anymore and the tool's going down. So I think, relying on tools when you can literally just hire someone and you can give them directions in 15 minutes. It's one of those things where when you say create these Web 2.0s and you give them a list, or you just Google it, best Web 2.0s, you don't, it's pretty intuitive how to do it. Like you can just show them one example and they can run with it. They do one, you show them. So it's not like you need some complex training or document or system for these. It's one of those things where anyone can do once they get the hang of it.
Yeah.
But then, getting the things indexed. I've tried a lot of like, there's always services to get it indexed, but I never found those that worked really well. So you can just go to Fiverr and, I actually put in parentheses unlimited URLs because I always have all these lists of Web 2.0s. I do the homepage of the Web 2.0. So like Mike's Amazing Blog.wordpress.org and like Mike's Amazing Blog.wordpress.org / post number 1. So I do it to both. I do it to the homepage of the Web 2.0 and the specific post on that Web 2.0. And I have all these lists. So I'll have like 50 URLs at a time. So then I'll buy maybe 1,000 links. And the reason you say, okay, 1,000 links, maybe even 10,000 sounds a lot, but all those links aren't going to work. And maybe only 10 of them will point to it. But again, that will get it indexed. Like it works like magic. Within a week, it will be indexed, and trying to do it different ways, it doesn't seem to work. So getting them indexed works really well. So the Web 2.0s, they're free accounts. Like there's no charge for all these. And citations, those are easy as well. And again, if you don't know what those are, it's like Yelp, Google Plus, Foursquare, all that stuff. Again, you can always just Google list of citations. I think a lot of people always are like, what is the best list? They think it's about the list of these things, Web 2.0s. And it's not about the list. It's just about getting anchor text. And they say, what are the most popular, most authoritative Web 2.0s? It's not about even the authority of the Web 2.0. If you had, Joe Schmo's Web 2.0 and you can still get a link on it, that's what you want pillowing for.
Yeah.
So I think it is, you got to focus on the goal of pillowing to keep things safe and natural. And then if you want to get fancy and you're I see like if you're trying to do really fancy stuff, I see that as you're trying to like rank 1 or 2 sites, your own kind of like affiliate sites, because then you can put in a lot of time in complex strategies versus when you have clients, you can't be doing all these complex things because that's just nightmare managing a staff that can do that. You need, PBNs, then we're going to do Web 2.0s, comments, citations, and social, and that's it. Like you can't be trying to like do this complex strategy from my experience so far. Like my theory is always I'm going to get this basic stuff down and then maybe I'll branch off to more complex stuff, but I'm still always just hammering on the principles and the basics.
Yeah, no, that that definitely makes sense. We're going to just, this has been an amazing amount of great content from Mike Piet here today. I'm going to wrap up with one last question to kind of help somebody, again, starting out or whatnot. You've been in this game for a number of years. What's maybe the one thing that, you wish, if you had a mentor or somebody kind of helping you out, what's the number one thing you wish you knew or somebody told you, when you got started in SEO? And it doesn't have to be related to anchor text or even pillowing, just, general related to SEO. If somebody could, if you can go back in time and say, oh man, I wish somebody told me this before I made this mistake, what would that be, you think?
Another reason I got into SEO too was I was looking for SEO jobs and I saw a lot of need for it. I went to a hire for this SEO company And the advice the interview gave me, he's like, we're not going to hire you. You don't have enough experience at this time. But he says, I want you to go out and get the experience, and I want you to fail. I want you to get clients and, have the most intention to help them, but you're going to fail. And I thought that was like the greatest advice. And I did that. And I went out there and I just failed a bunch of times. I messed up so much times. Like I've got so many PBNs, D-index, just doing dumb stuff. So from one perspective, my advice to myself would be that exact same thing. Go out there and fail. A lot of these things, at least for me, if someone tells me it, it's like I don't hear it. It's like I'm one of those people that I just have to go and mess up and then say, okay, and usually mess up a few times until I finally get the lesson. Okay, don't use, SEO hosting or something like that, or things like that. So I don't know if there's an exact lesson that I could go back and do, but most thing is, you're going to fail, and who can fail the fastest. I'm doing a lot of marketing right now, and I literally have about 40 ideas, and I just ranked them. What do I think is the best and what's going to work? And literally, I just keep crossing them off the list. Nope, this didn't work for this reason. These are the results, and I just keep crossing them off. And the faster I can do it, the more, the better. So fail fast. You're going to make mistakes, but just keep doing it, and also focus on the fundamentals of SEO. Is that, what does Google want? The most relevant page and the best page. And the most biggest factor, there's over 200, but the biggest factor is, authority links. Just focus on that and do it in a natural way, and just focus on that. I think a lot of people, and I did this too, is just try to focus on like all these crazy strategies, but really just whatever the strategies are, just focus on the fundamentals of SEO and keep things natural, and just keep doing that regardless of what people say. You can read all the forums, and I actually read like Local Client Takeover. I know you're a part of that. And I read it every day. And finally I started stopping, not because it wasn't good. It was just that there's just too many good ideas and there's just too much to read. I just have to, get out of there. It's like, dude, I already know so much, and I know way more, and just the basics get you there. So just really focus on the basics. And then SEO is one skill set, selling is a different skill set, and then building a team is a different skill set. And eventually, you do a little bit of this, get this plate spinning, and then do this plate spinning, then you drop that plate, and then got to get that one back up, and then keep going. Eventually, you get them all. And once you all start getting them all going, then you're going to have a lot of success, and that's what's going to take off. Like, it will be huge. So
right on. Good. Definitely some good advice there. And like you said, man, we've all been there, just made some mistakes with like clients or whatever. And you know what, you just gotta say, you gotta pick up and just move on. And eventually you're going to get it. It's like, it just clicks, all of a sudden it's just going to click. And once you can get all that garbage distraction out of your head and just focus, like you're saying, on those fundamentals, then SEO becomes, let's call it super easy. Like, because you are focused, you're not, buying the latest gizmo or, doing this, that, and the other thing. You're just, keeping your eye on the prize. You know what I'm saying? So, Mike Piet, thank you so much, buddy, for coming on the SERP Concierge Show. I'm so happy to have you on here, and it's been definitely action-packed. We've been talking about anchor text ratio, pillowing, backlinks, you name it. You definitely brought it today. Thank you so much again. What's the best way if somebody wants to get in touch with you? What's the best way they can reach you if they need to get in touch?
You can just look me up on Facebook, and you can also I have a group right now. I actually do like certain projects of each groups, and that's the group I'm at right now is where I'm learning the most and implementing the most is like building a system, scaling and systematizing the process. So operateitpro.com, operateitpro.com, or you can search that. It's actually that URL links right to the Facebook group, and you can go there, and I already have 2 videos up. And they've got a lot of good reviews. So that's where you would want to go to check out what I'm kind of working on in the systems. And it's all related to SEO and building the system. For like specific like pillowing and tactics, I'm the most active in Local Client Takeover. If you're not in there already, just search it on Facebook. You'll find it. And that's where you'll get the SEO advice. So if you want kind of the SEO advice, the best, and everyone interacting in that community get an answer with like in seconds, that's where you want to go for pillowing and SEO stuff, Local Client Takeover. And then if you want to have a more specific niche about building a system and scaling a business, then operateitpro.com or operateitpro, and just search that in Facebook.
Sweet, buddy. Thanks so much again, Mike Piet on the SERP Concierge Show. Thank you so much again for joining us and tuning in. We'll definitely hope I have you on again in the future with more great stuff. Thanks again, buddy.
Yep. Thank you for having me.
All right.
Later. See ya.
Hey, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please do share it. The Pure Value amazing content does not end there, though. You can now watch more amazing episodes that are in the boxes beside me. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel right now for more amazing content as it comes out.